Hey guys, welcome to Yoga with Bree. I am Bree, and today on the channel I'm bringing you a yoga video for hip pain or just hips. I had a request for hip progression, working towards full lotus. So I love doing your guys' requests. Keep those coming in the comments below. This is a great video or a great series of postures that you can do to start to create more strength and flexibility in the hips, as well as relieve lower back pain. So hop into something comfortable and let's begin. So to begin, we're gonna lie down on the back. We're gonna bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees open out to the sides here. As you recline down onto your back, we'll let the hips release, let the knees fall a little closer to the ground, and then place one hand on the stomach, one hand on the chest. If this is already really painful on the hips and you have a pair of yoga blocks, you can use the yoga blocks underneath the knees for a little extra support here. You can also place pillows underneath the knees. And over time, you will start to feel more release and you may not need to have those there. And we'll try to keep the back flat on the ground, so you might press into the arms a little bit here, lengthen out the spine, and then set yourself back down so the lower back can rest. The mid back and the upper back. Start to soften the shoulders. Good, we'll take a couple of deep breaths, just breathing in through the nose. Smoothly exhaling through the nose. And then after a couple of breaths here, we're gonna bring the hands to the outsides of the knees and then use the hands for support here. Guide the knees back together. For our next posture, we're gonna go ahead and roll up to our seated position. Coming through our tabletop, we'll come to a downward facing dog. Nice. On your inhale, lift your right leg up. And then we're gonna step the right leg to the top of the mat, land it outside of the right foot. So you're coming into lizard pose, and with lizard pose, we want to line the heel of the hands up with the heel of that front foot. I like to rock a little bit forward and back when I first come into lizard pose, so I can start to loosen up through the left hip, loosen up through the back of the right hip. And then from here, we're gonna soften that left knee down to the ground. Go ahead and untuck the toes. You can either stay up here high onto the hands, or if you have more space in the hips already, you might start to sink down to the forearms. This is another place you can use the block if you're at this awkward in-between point. Slide a block underneath the elbows, or one under each elbow. Bring the forearms down to the ground. Keep sinking the hips forward. Go ahead and release the forehead down, just soften here. Find a couple of breaths to find more space. And then we'll come back up to the palms. These are great poses to hold for many breaths. So if you want to pause the video and stay in any of these postures longer, that's an excellent idea. But we're going to go ahead and move into our next posture by bringing the right foot all the way across the mat. Take the right toes to rest behind the left wrist, and then bring the right knee down to the ground behind the right wrist. If the heel starts to come a little bit closer to the left hip, that's okay. Over time, we're working on getting the shin parallel to the front edge of your mat, but if it's not there right now, no worries. I have a video for this posture as well, so you can refer to my yoga pigeon pose video to learn more about this posture. But to begin, we're going to just keep the hips square. So you might find that your right hip is drawing forward, left hip drawing back. We're working on getting that left hip forward. I like to use a block in this pose, which I don't have one today. But if you have a lot of space between your right hip and the floor, go ahead and place a block or a book underneath that hip. That will give you more elevation, and it will allow you to keep the hips level without leaning over to the right. And then from here, we're just going to soften back down to the forearms. You can walk the hands all the way out here if you want to rest the chest over the thigh. Or you can stay up here on the forearms, releasing the forehead down. And then after you've held this posture for a couple of breaths, we're gonna walk the hands back up. Tuck your back toes under so you can lift that knee up, and then send your leg all the way back to three-legged dog. Bend that knee, start to circle through the hip. And then we'll switch direction. Good, setting that foot down. We'll pedal out our downward facing dog for a couple of breaths. And then inhale, lift that left leg up. Good, exhale, step it forward. Left foot lands outside of the left wrist. The palms line up with the heel, start to shift forward and back, loosening up the back of that left hip, the front of that right hip. Good, and then we'll bring the right knee down to the ground, untuck those toes, go as deeply as you want to or you need to into your lizard pose. So if you want to bring the forearms down to the ground, you can here. Go ahead and find release through the neck. And what you're seeing here is my practice, but keep in mind that you're doing your practice. So if it doesn't look like mine, no need to worry there, just move like you. We'll stay present with the breath, we'll stay focused, stay calm. Good, and then moving into our pigeon pose. We're going to start to walk those left toes over across the mat, let them rest behind the right wrist as you bring your left knee down to the ground. Start to crawl your right toes back, once again keeping, actually I don't think I mentioned this on the other side, but keep your toes in line with your right hip. Keep the top of the foot down on the ground, so avoid having the foot to one side or the other. We're going to keep it straight back. Go ahead and inhale, lift up. And then exhale, start to take it down. And on this side, you can really see what I mean about having that space between the ground and the hip. That's why I like to use a block there, because there's a tendency to lean to the side. And we want to keep the hips even. Keep the breathing nice and steady here. And then after you've taken several breaths on this side, go ahead and walk yourself back up. We're going to tuck the right toes under. Lift that knee, send the left leg all the way back. Good, bend your knees, start to circle through the hips, just getting blood flow into that hip. And then we'll reverse our circles. Good, set the left foot down, start to walk the feet to the center of your mat. We're going to take a seat in the center and set up for our fire log pose. So once you find your seat, we're going to sit cross-legged. Keep your right knee or your right leg in front. We're going to try to make a parallel line here. So you have the shin parallel to the long edge of your mat now. And then we're going to stack the left heel on top of the right knee. Left knee stacks right over the right foot. And this is an excellent place to use a block as well. I really should have a block with me today, huh? You can use a blanket as well. I mentioned that in our first posture. If you have a blanket with you, you can place that between the knee and the ankle as well. Or maybe you're all the way down, maybe your hips are open enough that you can go ahead and bring the knee down to the ankle. And we'll take a couple of breaths here sitting up nice and tall. So find some release in the hips. Find release in the shoulders. Keep growing tall through the spine. And then I also want you to keep the feet flexed here, so that's going to keep pressure out of the knees or unwanted tension in the knees. So go ahead and keep the feet flexed. Take a couple more breaths. If you have that knee all the way down to the ankle and you need more, you're not feeling much here, you can always start to walk the hands out in front of you, start to lower the chest over the shins. So many options depending on where you're at in your practice. Good, and then go ahead and use your hands. Be gentle here as you switch to the other side. I'll go briefly here just so that I can show you different poses that you can do for hip progression towards full lotus if you're working towards that, or just to relieve tension in the hips. We'll stack that right ankle on top of the left knee. Stack that right knee on top of the left ankle. Flex both feet. Sit up tall. And then I should have mentioned on the other side, if you are folding forward, keep the spine long here. So avoid rounding the spine to make that forward fold happen. We're gonna keep elevated, keep the shoulders rolled back and open, opening through the collarbones. Take a couple more deep breaths here. And then we'll gently release. Again, use your hands for support here. The final pose that we're going to do is a pretty deep hip opener. So if you're newer to practice, you might skip this one for now, or you might try it, go easy on yourself and decide that it's something you'll work towards later. The last pose that we're going to do is frog pose. So we'll begin on all fours. I like to make sure that the knees are supported here when I take this pose, so I always make sure my knees are on my mat, maybe even towels or blankets underneath the knees. And you'll start to bring the knees wide apart. From here, we're going to bring the inside edge of the foot down to the ground and try to keep the shins or the calves parallel to one another. So the knees and the heels are in line. Yeah, awkward pose. And then we'll bring the forearms down to the mat. Good. Over time, you might start to walk the hips, the knees a little bit further apart for a deeper stretch in the hips here. And then a very important thing in frog pose is to keep a slight tuck of the pelvis, or it might feel like you're tucking the tailbone under, but really we want to flatten out the lower back muscles. Avoid having this dip in the lower back. So I'm going to turn on my mat so that you can see. We're going to have the knees wide apart, inside edges of the feet down to the ground, forearms down. Good. And then over time, like I said, you can start working on getting the knees wider apart. And then this is the dip that we want to avoid. We don't want to stick the booty up towards the ceiling here. We want to tuck the tailbone under. Keep pressing through your forearms so that you're not sinking down into the shoulders as well. We're staying strong through the entire upper body. We're staying integrated through the spine. We're flattening out the lower back, drawing the core muscles in. And then just breathe here. Take a couple more deep breaths. Again, keeping in mind that everybody's practice is different, so what you see one person doing is not going to be the same shape that anyone else has. So just stay with your practice. Good, and then to come out, come back to the hands. We're going to bring the big toes together and then start to bring the knees to the center line. Good. So that is your yoga for hips video. Again, excellent video to start to open up the hips, to start to strengthen the hips as well, and to relieve lower back pain. If you liked this video, I hope that you'll like below so that you can keep returning to this video and practicing these postures. Also check out breyoga.com, you can find more there. And I have more videos coming to you every week on this channel, so subscribe, I have great things coming your way. I look forward to seeing you next time.